We greet our friends everywhere with Chapter 16 of This Is My Song, the story of Fanny Crosby. This is another in the series, Stories of Great Christians, and comes to you from the Moody Bible Institute in Chicago. A busy heart knows not the time of day. For Fanny Crosby, this little proverb was a reality. From early morning until nightfall, her life fell into a productive routine. She had her household routine and her role of a homemaker to fulfill. And always she had her work as a successful hymn writer. Her hymns were not written without labor. Fanny Crosby worked hard to produce hymns that rang true. There were days when she found herself exhausted from her work. Sometimes the words to a sacred melody would come in a flash. But however her work was done, she found continuing satisfaction and happiness in her life. Her days were happy ones, and her daily routine was one that never became dull. She loved the early breakfast with Van when lively discussions would invariably take place. One morning, as Fanny and Van were at breakfast, Fanny noticed that Van seemed especially attentive and inquisitive, and when questioned, much too secretive.
Fanny, Bess is a superb cook.
Really, Van, there's no great secret to cooking poached eggs.
Nevertheless, they're superb.
You've never commented upon the goodness of poached eggs before. Is this an unusual breakfast?
Haven't I?
Not that I remember.
Well, then it's high time that someone did. Bess has been getting too few compliments around here of late.
I agree with you, but...
But what?
Well, you've never made such an issue about the poaching of an egg before. I hardly see why you should begin now.
It makes conversation, my dear.
Oh, we've never lacked for conversation as far as I can tell.
And it always amazes me. I fear someday we shall run out completely.
Van, what is the matter with you this morning?
Nothing, Fanny. Not really. I just had a confusing dream last night. I guess I'm still mixed up.
Did you dream about eggs?
Yes, there were two things in my dream which I had to remember. The number of eggs that I've eaten since we were married, and the number of hymns you've written. I couldn't remember either one. I've eaten so many eggs, and you've written so many hymns. I don't mind about the eggs, but I ought to know the number of hymns you've written.
That was quite a dream.
Fanny, do you actually know how many hymns you've written?
Certainly.
You sure?
Of course. I have Bess write them down after I finish them. She records them in the big scrapbook on my desk.
I see.
Oh, don't worry about it. Bess does a good job.
Well, I've no doubt about that, but... Well, Mr. Bigelow asked only yesterday how many hymns you'd written, and I couldn't tell him.
That's why you dreamed of eggs and my hymns, then?
Perhaps. Fanny...
Yes?
I'd like to take that scrapbook to the school with me today. I can show it to Mr. Bigelow.
Why don't you invite him for dinner?
And I don't think he could come, but I'm sure he'd appreciate seeing your scrapbook.
But why?
So he can see for himself that you've recorded every hymn you've written.
Oh, if it means so much to you, I guess it's all right.
Fine. He'll be very pleased.
But as for the eggs, I don't see how we'll ever get the exact number.
I don't care about that, my dear. Not at all. It's the hymns I wanted. It's getting late. I'd better be going.
Van, you're acting strangely. Is anything wrong?
No, Fanny. No. Things couldn't be better.
That was the beginning of a puzzling day. A day that grew more mysterious as the hours passed. Something seemed to be up, but Fanny didn't know what. Bess seemed excited and busy, but couldn't explain why she had so much to do.
But I got a dust, ma'am.
But we cleaned the house yesterday.
It's dirty again. The dust is terrible.
It couldn't be. And the baking, that is unnecessary.
Gotta eat.
Bess, we still have lots of bread and cake from when you baked Tuesday.
Well, we're getting low. And besides, I'm just in the mood to bake.
You win, Bess. But something's in the air. I think I know. We're not having guests that I know nothing about, are we? Or a party?
Guests? A party?
That's what I said.
Oh, no, ma'am, not a party.
What then?
Nothing at all. I just feel like cleaning and baking, so I am, that's all.
Fanny could get nothing out of her either, and as the day passed, Fanny found it difficult to settle into working. The smells that came from the kitchen were company baking, and even though Fanny couldn't see it, she knew the home was shining like a silver dollar. The day wore on, and when it came time for Van to come home, Fanny was going to be ready, her best dress, her hair carefully done, and expecting anything. But Van was late, a whole hour and a half late. And then suddenly the reason struck Fanny. He was planning a party. He hadn't forgotten her birthday, even if she had.
Well, ma'am, that company you've been so suspicious about are coming up the walk now.
Who, Bess? Who?
Never you mind. I'll just let 'em in. Come in.
Darling, I'm sorry I'm late, but I brought company.
Company?
Happy birthday!
Happy birthday, my dearest. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday. Even though Fanny had forgotten, all her friends had remembered. W.H. Doane, Ira D. Sankey, Hubert Maine, Miss Meyer, all of them. The dinner was memorable, but it's what happened after the meal that came as the biggest surprise to Fanny. Van had taken the big hymn book with him that morning, and now came the surprise. The reason why he'd taken the scrapbook with him. After the meal, the group went into the living room, and Van sat down at the piano.
This is our birthday gift for you, Fanny. A concert of your hymns, sung by friends who love you best of all. Now just sit back, my dearest, and listen.
Keep me ever, ever near. my spirit clothed immortal, wings its flight to realms of day. This my song through endless ages, Jesus led me all the way. This my song through endless ages, Jesus led me all the way.
That was lovely. Just beautiful.
Please listen to me.
What is it, Fanny?
I thank you all for this wonderful gift. But my favorite hymn is not my own. Not that I don't love my own songs. I want them to be useful and lovely, but so many of the great hymns of the church are engraved on my memory. I love them best of all, especially my favorite, Faith of Our Fathers. Please sing that.
Faith of our fathers, living still in spite of dungeon, fire, and sword. Oh, how our hearts beat high with joy whene'er we hear that glorious word. Faith of our fathers, holy faith, we will be true to thee till death. It was a wonderful evening for Fanny, and one that moved her deeply. Her ability as a hymn writer was growing, and the circle of well-known Christian leaders who came to know and love her grew also. Her life of sweetness, humor, and hard work was an inspiration to her friends. It wasn't only her hymns that held so much influence, it was her life as well. And so we conclude Chapter 16 of This Is My Song, the story of Fanny Crosby. This is another in the series Stories of Great Christians, and comes to you from the radio studios of the Moody Bible Institute in Chicago.